everyone, and welcome to Heartbeat Earth. My name is Rachel, and I'm going to be your host today. I thank you so much for your patience as we were working through some technical difficulties getting our speakers and mics all working. First technical difficulty of the week, so I think that's not too bad considering how many sessions that we have going on this week. I thank you so far for sharing where you're joining us from in the chat, letting us know what school and organization you're coming from, as well as how you've been getting outside this week. We've loved seeing all of your adventures that your teachers and educators have been sharing with us. So keep those photos and videos coming. As I said, my name is Rachel. I'm the Education Outreach Coordinator for Take Me Outside, and I'm joining you from Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Innuit, and the Dakota, and also the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Manitoba, where I live, is also the traditional land of the Inishwaak and the Dene. Now, Take Me Outside would like to acknowledge and celebrate the diverse environments and people across Turtle Island whose lands are the places, spaces, and teachers for our work. The speakers and presenters this week come from a wide range of nations and places across Turtle Island. We want to begin by acknowledging that outdoor learning recognizes humans as an internet-connected part of the natural world as part of relationships that have been stewarded since time immemorial by Indigenous peoples who have lived here before colonialism and continue to live here and thrive despite it. We begin with gratitude and the utmost respect for the land and all the relations above and within her. We offer our gratitude and respect for the many Inuit, First Nations, and Métis and other Indigenous people who continue to protect and share their deep relational knowledge to facilitate ongoing relationships with her. Sharing your languages of reciprocity, relationship, respect, and responsibility encourage the heart of outdoor learning. We also acknowledge that the work of truth and reconciliation is a journey of lifelong learning and work. We commit to supporting educators and rising to the Truth and Reconciliations Commission's calls to actions number 6, 12, and 62 through 66. So this week, as you're getting outside, and hopefully today, it is Take Me Outside Day. We hope that you are taking time to recognize whose traditional land and territory you reside, work, and play and explore on. You can use the resource that Julie's going to pop in the chat here as a great starting place. An Indigenous mentor and hiking guide, Tim Patterson from Little Nicola Band, says, it's not just about acknowledging the land or the people of a particular land, but asking, what does this knowledge compel you to do? And so throughout this week, we hope the sessions, speakers inspire educators and learners from all walks of life to head outside and connect to the land. We hope you experience the way the land can love, nurture, and heal this week. So it's my great pleasure to introduce our speakers for today from Rise Up Indigenous Wellness. Lana Payne is a member of the Hawkshaw Band and the Stadalium Nation. She is an Indigenous educator with a focus on outdoor education. Lana teaches yoga, mindfulness, in addition to Indigenous outdoor camps. Lana is a proud mother of 2 adult children. Sherelle Anderson is a member of Saddle Lake Cree First Nation. She is a social worker with a focus on Indigenous wellness. Sherelle facilitates a number of Indigenous programs throughout BC. Sherelle is a proud number of 3 and is a proud mother of 3 school-age daughters. So behalf on Taking Outside, I would like to make you both an offering of tobacco in gratitude for joining us today for this session. I'll be popping this in the mail to you following today's session. And so thank you so much again for joining us. And I'm going to pass it over to you.
We caught the feather. Cooksham, Rachel, and thank you. And Mike, welcome to all the students and teachers who are joining us today. I'm Lana Payne Purcell, and when we introduce our nation too, I want to add to that quote that you said from, I think it was Tim from Nicola. We're not just acknowledging the land we're on too, but who we answer to, who not just who we're connected with, but our nation is who we're responsible to sharing things in a good way. So very grateful for that opening and introduction. And yeah, so I'm Lana.
And I'm Sherelle Anderson. And as Rachel said, I'm a member of the Saddle Lake Cree Nation. And Lana and I started Rise Up so we could offer on the land camps to urban Indigenous kids and local Indigenous kids as well, as a way of reviving culture and using our culture as wellness.
And so what we really see the value and importance of incorporating Indigenous ways of knowing into our connection to the land. And that idea of mindfulness as a way to connect to the land is so important to our traditional teachings and to place-based learning. So we always start with a connection. We're indoors right now for the sake of filming, but we would normally either cedar brush or light some sage to smudge. We're inside, so we're just going to use a smudge spray to start off with so that we do things in a good way. And the idea is just to remember to let go of anything that we need to let go of and be here and present, and make sure that our eyes see the good around us and our ears can hear the words of others, and that we choose our words carefully and that we speak from the heart.
And we like to use the spray smudge because sometimes there are situations where you can't get cedar, or sometimes you can't smudge with like the abalone shell and the sage in a certain room. So a spray is a nice way of doing it as well, or even lighting a candle or a diffuser too.
Yeah, and people often ask, "Oh, can I smudge?" And like my understanding from speaking to my elders is if that the medicine was put here for everybody, and that when we learn the proper way of respecting that medicine and using it in a good way, it's good for everybody. So the other way that we start is with the drum, and partly because the drum reminds us of our spiritual and deep connection to all the life around us, to the earth people, plants people, animal people, and us, who play the drum, the people. So it reminds us of that deep connection, and it also reminds us of that heartbeat of the earth, that everything is alive around us and we're one piece of that puzzle. So to be in nature and to be outside is to be a piece of that deep and connected relationship. So we're just going to start by breathing with the drum. So if you take a big inhale and get your body settled. So if you're sitting in a chair or in a classroom, just try to have your feet on the ground beneath you and pull your shoulders up and release them down, and settle your body in so that you're ready to do some deep breathing. And you're going to exhale all the air out of your lungs. And you're going to inhale through your nose for 4 beats. Hold and exhale for 4. Hold and inhale for 4. And exhale. One last deep inhale. And exhale. Just take a moment to notice if your body's feeling a little more relaxed and open. And we always like to think of that as being open to the teachings of the earth. You're ready to listen. You're ready to move silently and be able to absorb those things. So starting with the drum is an excellent way to reconnect to all of those important things in nature.
So I'm going to begin with a water quote, and then we're going to do a water meditation. So water has a memory, and it's carried within us, within our thoughts and within our prayers. As you yourselves are water, no matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. So water is life. And we're going to do if you have a glass of water or a bottle of water next to you, we're going to take a few minutes to get to know the glass of water. And this might seem kind of strange and funny, but bear with me and we'll work through it, and we'll see how the relationship with water changes. So I want you to take a moment and look at your water. Hold it up in the light a little different. Maybe peer down through it. Is there any ripples? Do you see any little bubbles forming? Now I want you to take a moment and inhale the water, smelling it. Does it remind you of something in the summer or maybe the fall right now? Does the water smell? Maybe you smell nothing. These are all just observations. Now take a moment and bring it to your ear. Hold it a little bit far away underneath. Do you hear anything? Now bring it a little bit closer. Is there any sound waves? Now take a moment and bring it to the other ear. Starting low again too. And now bring it up to your ear canal. All right, we'll take a moment and we'll just wet our lips a little bit. Maybe this is your first sip of water in the morning. We're in BC, so it's 9. And now bring it into your mouth, but don't swallow it. Play around with it. Let it go over your tongue, through your teeth. How does it feel on your cheeks? Is it cold? Is it room temperature? Now take a moment and swallow it. How does it feel going down your throat? Is it refreshing? And now just take a drink and don't think anything of it. So this is just a short mindful water drinking, and to come to think about what water does for us and how it makes us feel. Lots of times we're busy doing sports, being outside, and we don't take those moments to even eat peacefully or drink peacefully. This is a chance to kind of get in the present and be mindful of what's around you. And that exercise took maybe 2 minutes, and it really reacquainted us with the glass of water.
Good job, Sherelle. I love it that mindful practice with being near water too. Lots of us are from different parts of the country, but always some form of water nearby to go. And our ancestors always say, go to the water. Go to the water when you need peace. Go to the water when you need connection. Go to the water when you need healing. So just remembering the power of water to us, and that connection that we have deeply with water as a healer. So we wanted to share some movement activities too. And like I said at the start, all of our activities have a mindful component. When we think about Indigenous teachings, we're strongly connected to our senses and our sense of where we stood in nature. And I like to think of it this way sometimes. When you feel somebody's eyes on you, but you can't see them, and you turn and look and you're like, oh, somebody is looking at me. That's that heightened sensory awareness that we all have, but don't practice all the time. So a lot of our games for outdoors that are from our ancestors work on heightening our senses and being aware. This first one that we want to share, though, rather than being as sensory, it's more connection. So anyone who knows the game rock, paper, scissors will catch on to this quickly. Although this one is deer, cliff, and arrow. So if you're watching right now, could you do a deer? This is deer, this is cliff, this is arrow. Now the idea of this game is that you have two teams, and you want to be able to cooperate in the team. And it ties with our traditional teachings that it was more important to be able to work together than for one person to win. It was the good of all was better than the good of one. So you'd have two groups doing this, and you'd get together and decide, what are we going to be? Are we going to be deer, cliffs, or arrows? Now, a deer can jump really far, so deer beats cliff. Cliff is a hard rock, so when an arrow hits it, it breaks. So cliff beats arrow. And for obvious reasons, arrow beats deer. So those are the three outcomes. So Sherelle and I will just demonstrate it. If we had a group and we'd be huddled with our group, deciding what we were going to be, waiting for, you could use a drum in this one. We usually like to, waiting for the drum beat. So when the group's ready, you're lined up in front of each other, and you're going to listen to the 4 beats and walk towards each other for 4. So we're walking. 4. And on the 4th, you do the sign. So Sherelle is deer, I'm cliff, deer beats cliff. So that would be 1 point for her side. And you might mark it with a stick if you're outdoors. Yeah.
So
So
if you don't have a drum, you can always use your lap to make the noise.
that's true. The
Yeah.
lap drum.
Yeah.
The other opportunity with that activity, it's like it can be done anywhere you're at in nature. And it's a reminder of being graceful with the outcome. Like with all of our traditional games, we didn't gloat if we won or like be super sad if we lost, because there's that traditional teachings that it is as it should be. So we would say that the outcome was already decided. So so you wouldn't kind of showboat or gloat about it. So that's one that's easy to do anywhere. Another one, we asked the classes to have some stones ready. Do you want to walk them through this, or
Yeah.
should I? Yeah, you walk them
You
through
got the
this?
stones?
No, I'll like.
Yeah. Okay. So you have your stones, and so you get to know your stone. You feel the edges of the stone. Is it kind of shaped? Is it rough? Is it maybe shaped like a square, or maybe it kind of has like a heart shape? So you're really getting to feel the stone and get to know your stone. And then the stone will have a marking on it. Like it might just be numbers. They might be numbered 1 to 5. And then you put all those, so you're in a group of 5. So you put all the stones into a basket. And then to be tricky, you'll add in a few more stones too. And the students are blindfolded. And what we've used for blindfolds is we cut up old leggings. And then it's easy just to pop on over the head. You don't have to worry about tying anything. It's just an easy pop on and pop off. And then, so students are blindfolded and they're trying to find their stone just from their touch, because they got to know their stone by the first round. And the goal is to find your stone in the baskets and to see if you can catch it.
Yeah. So, and they don't have to be, if you're out somewhere and you're all finding similar looking stones, you can have a piece of chalk with you just to make a little X or a mark on the back in order to identify if you found the right one or not. So again, the idea is to heighten your senses, to notice your sense of touch. So in the classroom, that's could be an easy one to add on to your outdoor classroom time. So another easy outdoor activity that doesn't require equipment is one called Steal the Fire. So this is a chance to talk about how important fire is and was to our people, and so valued for from preserving food to warmth to just the daily usage of it for making things too. So the fire had to be protected. So this traditional game has one person being the protector of the fire. So we think about in the old days, fire keepers would travel with a little ember in a bit of old punky wood that they could keep it burning to start a fire at the next camp. And so this one, the students gather some sticks and easy enough wherever you're at. So just everybody kind of gathers some up and places them into a pile in the middle of a circle. So it can be played all year round because it's more challenging in different seasons. So the sticks are set in the middle, and one student is volunteers or is voluntold to be the fire keeper. I volunteer you.
Oh, okay.
So firekeeper has to have super alert senses because everybody who's in the firekeeper's in the middle, everyone around in the circle wants to steal the fire. So firekeeper is are you
Yeah.
you can't see?
I guess.
Okay, so the sticks are on the ground in front of firekeeper, and people in the circle are trying to steal the fire. So let's pretend I'm walking up and I go to grab one. Oh, she's heard me. So I have to leave the stick. So maybe I come up quietly and she didn't hear me. So I would get away. That's one stick until all of the sticks are gone. And then firekeeper takes the blindfold off. Good job, firekeeper. And it's a chance to do a few things. It's a chance to work at silent play in nature. So you can hear the life coming alive around you because we're being as silent as we can when we play this game so that firekeeper won't hear us coming. It's a chance to talk about walking gently and carefully through nature, how for our Indigenous ancestors, survival depended on being able to walk gently and carefully, not crushing plants beneath our feet, not tromping on things loudly so that we're scaring off any game that are in the area. And even the way that we would move through. When we play this with students, we talk about fox walking. So gently placing our feet one in front of the other, heel toeing, and seeing how gently we can move along. So lots of chances to discuss all those important ways of being mindful about our body and mindful about the noise that we might make moving through nature. So simple game that you can do pretty much anywhere as long as you can find a few sticks. And like Sherelle said, we just use these stretchy old tights for blindfolds because you can wash them easily and you don't waste time trying to tie them on.
And just to add to what Lana was saying about firekeeper is it's also a chance to kind of get acquainted with the seasons, like so that students kind of get to know in the fall, like the leaves are crunchy. In the winter, it's kind of like you can hear people's coats too, and the snow, and then the spring, it's a little bit easier for the Steelers because the ground isn't like making as much noise too.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting to know the weather too out there, just being immersed with this game year round.
Yeah, and it's something that we've played with young students all the way up to elders at some of our gatherings. So it's like the games aren't expected to be just with children. They're different multi-age level, that fun connection. So another one that can be played outside, and remember, if you don't have a drum, you can always use your legs like a drum, is called Stop the Drum. So again, that importance of being able to hear things and being able to use that sense for movement. So part of this game is body awareness, like where your body's moving when you can't see what's going on around you. And the other piece is being able to listen very carefully and tune in that sense of hearing. So in Stop the Drum, if you have two drummers, it's next level because it's a little more challenging. You could start with one drummer, and the students are all blindfolded or with eyes closed if people aren't comfortable with having a blindfold, or so you could also just have your eyes closed or a hood pulled over. Everyone's frozen and listening carefully, and the drummer might do some very soft beats. and the stalkers are coming and trying to move their body towards the drum beat without knocking anybody over, and also with trying to get to where the drum is. So the drummer might move around and move to different areas while the, I don't want to call you stalker, but the person stalking the drum is trying to move towards it. So it's slowly, as people reach the drummer, their blindfold is lifted up or they're tapped on the shoulder and they go off to the side until there's nobody remaining. And like this one, we always share too, the outcome is that we've all learned to tune in our sense of hearing.
And also your sense of hearing, but also your body awareness, so that you're not bumping into other kids and running into trees. That's why we're nice and like calm when we do it. And so you're aware of who's around you or what you might touch too.
Yeah, because we forget that connecting in that way in nature. So noticing all those things around us. Is there roots that you're going to trip on? Are there rocks around you? Like what might be unsafe if you were to move through in darkness, which is essentially what we're doing, is moving through without being able to see. So that one, Stalk the Drum, and I would think of that one as another sort of mindfulness game that connects us in nature. And again, the use of the drum as reminding us of that important connection and even that important job that we have of caring for the earth by being gentle and careful and respectful in our movements and our ways to move through.
And another, before we kind of get into our last one, another one you can do in nature with kids from little kindies up to grade 12 is mindful walks. And so the purpose of a mindful walk is to be quiet the whole walk. So for little kids, it's hard. It's starting with 30 seconds and they can be fox walking quietly. But as they get older, it's really engaging all the senses. So the instructor would point out, like, we're going to take a moment to look around us. What do you see around you? And
let's do this right now for the listening classes. So they could walk through their classroom. And
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to begin a mindful walk. We're going to inhale and exhale. When you open your eyes, look around you. Are the leaves changing colors? Does it feel a little bit dewy outside, a little bit cold? And as we start our walk, we're going to be quiet. We're not going to chat with our friends. We're just going to be in the moment. And as we're walking, notice your body. Are you holding your fists together, or are they nice and relaxed? Are you taking big steps? Are you in a hurry? Why are you in a hurry? Let's just take a moment and walk nice and slow. Let's stop here and take a moment to inhale and exhale. What kind of smells are there in nature? Does it smell earthy? And as we're walking, we're going to come out of the trees. Do you feel a wind on your face? Do you feel colder than when you were in the trees? And we're going to continue on. And we'll pause here. What do you hear? Are there birds? Is there wind? And take a moment to look around. Does it look different than when we were in the trees? And we'll continue back. Notice your walk and notice how your body. Are you holding everything in, or are you nice and relaxed? Are you more cautious of how you're stepping? And take one last deep breath in and exhale. And that's the end of the mindful walk. So it's important to have a beginning and an end so that students know when they can start chatting again, and that's the end of their mindfulness period.
Good job, Sherelle. And since you've got us moving, we can do like work in some mindful movements here. If we're inside, maybe we want to connect to some of the things that we might have been doing in nature on the outside. So if we're indoors, we want to bring our arms up, reaching up towards the sky, and then bending over, reaching towards the ground. Inhale back up to if we're seated, and we're going to paddle. Begin our journey on the right side, loosening up our shoulders, and we're going to paddle on the left side, back on the right. Where are we headed to? Back on the left, and rolling our shoulders back, getting ready for a bow pull on the right side, and letting it go. Left, let it go. Right, let it go. Left, let it go, and shake it out. So often too, if we can't, or for some reason are unable to get outside, we want to bring the outside in through using our senses and through being mindful of where we're at. Sometimes that means actually bringing in things from outside if we can, some plants, some here we would do some cedar, something to remind our senses of being still in nature. And then being able to visualize too, maybe a place that makes you calm or makes you feel connected to nature. So what we wanted to lead you through a nature meditation. So coming back to thinking in your mind of a place in nature that maybe brings you joy or makes you feel calm. Maybe it's a beach that you like to go to. Maybe that place is in the forest or in the mountains. Maybe it's in a park that you visit and walk through if you're in the city, a park space, or in your own backyard. Somewhere we're going to think about that place. And I like to close my eyes just so that I can imagine it a bit more. But some people, maybe you want to just look down or look at something. So take a second to picture that space and give it some life. What are the colors that you see? Is the water sparkly looking? Is it trees that you see? Is there shades of green? Is there shades of brown? Are there leaves changing color? Is it a certain time of year? Is the sun shining down brightly? Or is it in the evening and there's shadows? Just take a moment to picture that calming space in nature. Look for textures. Look at what you see on the items around you, and in your mind, imagining how that might feel. So once you've had a chance to sort of visualize that space, begin to think with your sense of touch. So that calm space, think about maybe if you were to dip your fingers or toes into that water, how it would feel on your body. Or maybe if you were to touch the trunk of that tree, how would the bark feel? If there's crunchy leaves in your hands or under your feet, how would that crunching feeling feel? Or if you were to stroke some of the stems around you, just imagining your sense of touch being activated in this calming nature place and nature space. Now we're going to feel our body a bit more. There was our sense of touch. Now feel if you were walking through the forest, what if the trees were brushing against you? How does the ground feel beneath your feet? What time of year is it? Is it crunchy? Is it soft? Is it muddy? Is it sticky? Is it thick and high grasses? Just that feeling of how your feet and body would feel as you walk through that space. Now we're going to imagine the smells, and that sense of smell really brings us back to the place. Sherelle had us smelling the water earlier. Think if there's a smell, if there's a water nearby, what that smell of the water body is. Maybe you can hear, maybe it's a river or a waterfall where you can hear the water bubbling and crashing down. Maybe it's a sound in a forest where you gently hear the trees rustling. You can hear the birds and the squirrels. You can hear all of those soft nature sounds around you. So we have the scents that remind us of where we're at, and the sounds that place us where we're at. Now bring that whole picture together in your mind, that idea of the natural spot we're in, how things look, feel, how it smells where you're at, and how it feels where you're at. Even imagining tasting the air, how in the winter the air is sort of dry and crisp, or it's like hotter in the summer. So just remembering that we're connected to all these things. This is our calm space that we can come back to when we want to connect to nature. So opening your eyes and coming back to us here.
Cookstram, Lana. So those are just some of the mindful activities that we use at our camps and with students, and we hope you can take them outside and pick some of your favorites and give them a try.
So Cooksham for having us today, and I think we mentioned at the start that we were calling in from Secwepemcúlecw, so the heart of the Shuswap. No snow yet, but it looks close.
Yes, it is.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that wonderful session. Such great ideas for getting outside and connected with the land. I think I speak for everyone when I say like they're so inspiring, especially today when the whole point of today is for us to get outside and feel connected to the land. So beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. So I did want to give the audience a chance. Do you have any questions for Sherelle and Lana? Now's the time. We have a little bit of time here. If you want to put those questions in the chat, and we can bring those questions forward. While you're doing that, we would love to know what was your favorite part of today's session. What's maybe a takeaway, an activity that you're going to try out today when you go outside. I did also want to let you know that today we also have another session, an outdoor sing-along with Remy Roden. So you can also join us later today for that amazing session. So if you have a question, feel free to pop those in the chat. Let us know what your highlight was today. So someone wants to know, how did the fire game, the keeper game, originate?
Oh, interesting. Like we've seen variations of it in different nations, and I feel like everything are coming from an oral history. Our stories hold our collective memories. So it's impossible to know like the one nation or one origin of it, but like I've heard it told in different nations in different ways, and sometimes it's connected with stories like of how fire first came to the people, and that story is different in different nations too. But yeah, so I would say we couldn't really say the origin of it, but there are variations.
Beautiful. All right, so someone wants to ask how often do you smudge?
So I smudge daily, just because I feel like it's a good way to be present and start the day. When we have camps, we
smudge it.
Yeah,
we get in every camp. We smudge.
So we start, and mainly to set that idea of we're using land as medicine, and we're coming together and to start in a respectful, good way.
Amazing. And last question for today. Someone wants to know, why is water so special?
Well, water is life and it's all around us. We are water, and what we do to the water, we do to ourselves. And how we take care of the water is how we're taking care of ourselves. It's all interconnected. We do have an activity where we get 2 glass mason jars and we tell the kids to go pick up garbage. And then we fill up one of the mason jars with garbage and fill it up with water, and then fill up the other one with water with no garbage in it. And it's like, what one would you rather drink? What fish would you rather eat from which water source? So it's just the interconnection that water's all around us, and it plays such an important role in us as humans, and for our animal friends, and for Mother Earth.
And can I just add, I was teaching a camp last week, and it was on the coast, and it was raining when we were doing our outdoor activities. And often that's a chance to talk about, oh, we're all part of the same ecosystem when we're outside in the water and rain. Like, what's happening to our body is happening to the earth and the plants. And one of the elders there also said, this water also is the same water that our ancestors prayed under and cared for because of the water system.
Mm.
So when we connect with water, it's like connecting to our ancestors.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I've never heard that piece of water, that your water is recycled and that water is that connection piece. So that's absolutely beautiful. And thank you again so much to both of you for joining us today. That's all we have time for questions, but in the chat, that everyone is saying how wonderful the session was, entertaining, enjoyable, and the beautiful things that they've taken away and that they're going to be using today and for the rest of the week, and hopefully in the future as they go outside. So like I mentioned, we have one more session later on today. We also have a full day of sessions tomorrow, all focusing on health and wellness. Also, today is Take Me Outside Day, so we invite you to join us for the 14th annual Take Me Outside Day. We are encouraging you to get outside, to spend at least 1 hour outside. If you need any suggestions outside of the beautiful suggestions that Sherelle and Lana just gave us, you can go to our website. We have a resource page with a full list of activities, lessons that can all be done outside with your learners. As well, we have some people we'd want to thank. A special thanks to all of our prize partners for supporting us in being able to give prizes away for these sessions. So the Outdoor Learning School and Store, New Brunswick Environmental Network, and Mountain Equipment Company. We've been loving the photos that we've been getting as you have all been outside this week. So feel free to continue sharing those with us. Tag us on social media. Use the hashtag #TakeMeOutsideDay throughout the week. With any photos you post. You can also email us those photos at info@takemeoutside.ca. Just a note too that prize winners will be emailed following today's session in our end of day wrap up email. We're giving away prizes for every session for photos that are being shared, both email, social media. Don't worry if you send your photos to us after we send out the recap email. We still look at them for the next day. So continue sharing those photos with us. And again, thank you so much to both of you for joining us. Happy Take Me Outside Day. As you're leaving, let us know what's your plans for today. How are you going to be getting outside? And I thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again sometime this week.
Rachel, and if they want further ideas, a lot of them come this book's with the Outdoor Learning Store, and
beautiful. Yes. Yeah. We can we'll link that in our wrap up email with the recordings from today. We'll link your book. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thank you again so much, everybody, and hope to see you again this week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.